Hey crafty friends, this is Nye here. So today what we're going to be doing is we are going to assemble another layered Halloween paper craft. And this one is going to be of our piggy friend here. And as you can see, I've got all of my pieces. They are lined up and stacked in the order that I want for gluing. I'm going to be using my art glitter glue here for all of my gluing. And today is going to be one of those days where you want to make sure that you've got your tweezers handy because we are going to put it to good use today because this one has a lot of the smaller pieces here. You also do want to make sure that you're using or that you have a push pin or a ball pin here. I have this extra one that I use only because we're going to have a lot of small pieces to work with. I also have this one. This is the one that I use to stick inside of my glue to keep it from clogging, but you're just going to want to make sure that you have one handy. Now, before I started the video, I went ahead and I glued down the red tongue for our pig friend. If you kept the design the same size as the file, you're going to find that you were able to cut everything out using a newer or new mat. If you had an older one, you may have run into some difficulty because there's a lot of the finer pieces and a lot of details to this craft. I'm also going to recommend, though, that if you decided that you wanted to size yours smaller than the file here, I want to make sure that you just go ahead and get rid of the tongue. You could use a paint pen to just kind of add a little bit of an oval onto the back part of the tongue here. It was just really tiny, and I almost lost mine when I was getting it off of the mat. So it's just going to be on the more difficult side if that's what you're doing, is you're shrinking it and making it a little bit smaller. Okay, so let's go ahead and just get started here. So I think I said it, but before I started the video, I went ahead and I glued the red piece down to her tongue here, and I just made that flip. So I'm going to grab that one and then just kind of put it right back there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this piece, I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to add my glue here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue these smaller pieces that have little sections first, only so that way when I move them off of my area here, I don't lose them on my table because that's bound to happen. Okay, so I've got the nose done, and all I did was I kept it between my fingers there, and I used my fingers as a guide to kind of line it up. And so you can see it's good. I'm going to put that one off to the side now. The next one I'm going to do here are the eyes. And so I'm going to hold this one here. Well, let's see, I almost need 2 tweezers and I didn't get another one. I only kept the one. So what I'm going to do, though, again, is I'm going to just add little tiny amounts of glue here to the back. And then something else that I want to encourage you to do is if when you pulled it off the mat, the hole that's in the center of this black one, if it didn't come off, just go ahead and use your weeding tool to kind of push that piece out. Sometimes it can get a little stuck, and because it's a small piece already, you might have run into a little bit of difficulty with that one. So I'm going to put this one off to the side too. I don't want to leave it that way because then it's going to get lost on my table. And I'll be like, oh no, I lost it. All right. And that would be interesting when I go to finish it, right? All right, so let's put this one here. Well, let's just leave that one, see if it stays attached. Let me move this one there. And all right, so again, I'm just going to add a little bit of glue here. And I'm going to grab it here with my tweezers. Let me flip it this way. Orientation is, again, going to be really important. You're going to want to make sure that you've got everything in the right orientation when you go to line things up. All right. So there we go, the second eye. Whew. Okay. So these smaller pieces here are going to be probably the hardest ones that we do here with today's craft. I'm going to flip this one here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit of glue right in that area. And then I'm going to use my finger for this one because it's a little bit bigger. And then same thing here. I'm going to add my glue, just kind of going a little bit around the edge. And then I'm going to use my tweezers to grab the buckle and then just layer it right on top and then push it right into the right spot. Now, remember too, as I always say, if you're using the art glitter glue like I am, the glue is going to dry clear. So if you have any bits seeping through, you don't really have to worry about it too much. Unless you're really picky about it, then you could use like a paper towel and wipe it off. Okay. So my next step was I took the buckle of the hat and I just went ahead and placed it down right away. So that way it would be good to go. And what I'm going to do is I'm picking up this part of the hoof. I'm going to add a little bit of glue right underneath. So you can see I'm using my push pin. You don't have to worry about using the push pin because when you're using the push pin, it might make a little bit of a dot on your cardstock there. But as long as you're not pressing it like 50 times or something, you'll be okay. One little dot will be okay if it shows up or if you can see it through your cardstock there. And so what I'm doing is I'm just using my push pin to pick up the piece and then just to glue it right down. I've got this part that's kind of sticking up, so I might come back in and add a little bit of glue there. I'm going to go ahead and add the hoofs too. I lost the stem of my pumpkin. So I'm going to go ahead and add the hoofs or glue these down as well. So that way they are good to go. I'm going to use my tweezers again and just kind of getting everything in lined up here. Same thing. And so this one is just, it's a really easy craft, but because of these smaller pieces, it just becomes a little bit more tricky. But these smaller pieces are the details, and the details are what kind of make our projects really stand out and make them unique and special. So I think that this stem got flipped. So I'm going to go ahead and just place it down like that. And then I'm going to use my tweezers and just push it up into the right spot there. Okay. And then the last part that I'm going to do are this part here of the ears. I'm going to pick up that piece and put it there. And then I'm going to add the glue to the back of this one. And once we get the ears done, then all we'll be left with are the larger pieces. And so, let's see, does it go this way? I think it goes this way. So I want to add the glue. Okay, I'm going to add the glue to that side. Again, see, I told you orientation is really important. Only because if you get it off, it could kind of throw the whole design. Okay, oops. All right, let me just shift that over. And then remember too, you've got about 5 seconds to move things around before the glue dries, and then you're stuck with whatever it is in that position. All right, so let's go ahead and glue the pumpkin here first. So now that I'm working with the bigger pieces, I can just go ahead and hold things in my hand. You can keep using the tweezers if you want, but you may find, like I do, I can get more precision when I hold it in my hand and use my fingers as the guide to line everything up. So you can see all of that right there. I'm going to go ahead and now glue this down to the body of our piggy friend. And I'm going to do the hat as well. I don't know if I want to do the face just yet. I might save it to the very end, only because, let me see. Sometimes I have to get a little quiet because I get so focused on trying to make sure that I've got it in the right spot. I might save the face until the very end, only because I know that the eyes are going to kind of hang off a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move this now. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip everything and I'm going to begin to work my way from the bottom to the top. Now, the reason why I work from the bottom to the top is I just find it easier to layer things together like that. I know that sometimes others may want to work from the top to the bottom, but I find that the bigger pieces are always easier to work with. And so I'm just adding the glue everywhere to the back of this. You do kind of want to make sure that you're getting out to the edges because the edges are really important. This one's a little stuck. I'm going to hold this here between my fingers, and then I'm going to use my fingers to line it up. So you can see this one right there, everything is getting right in the right position. And again, you do want to make sure that you take your time to make sure that it is in the right position, because if it's not, it'll show. And this will be one of those ones where if it's off a little, you'll be all right, but it could really look odd if it gets too far off. So I'm going to go ahead, and so now with these layers with the trees here, I'm just taking my time to add a little bit of glue out towards the edges, only because I want to make sure that it stays down and glued to the paper, and so that it doesn't snag. So I'm getting all the way out here with these bats. I'm going to get up here at the top with the top bat, and then when you're ready, you just kind of go crazy in the center there for a minute, or probably just maybe a few seconds. And then again, I'm going to do the same thing in using my fingers to get everything lined up at the edges here. And if you have glue seeping through, that's okay. It's not a big deal. Just give it a chance to press everything down. If you have a paper towel nearby, you can use the paper towel just to wipe away any of the excess glue, but you really don't have to worry too much about it because it's going to dry clear. All right, so now this layer here, which is the green, which is going to be the grass for us. And so again, that kind of lifted up there. All I'm doing is I'm making sure that I'm adding a little bit of glue and that I'm taking my time here at the edges with the trees and with the bats. And so this is just another fun little project for us. I love pigs. I think they're cute. My husband bought me tons of them when we first got married, little piggy figurines. They're kind of one of my favorite animals. And so today's design is just a piggy friend for us. Okay, so again, I'm pressing everything down. I'm lining it up. And then once I know that I've got it in the right spot, I'm pressing it down and making sure that it stays. All right. And remember too, especially with the trees, you've got 5 seconds before the glue bonds to shift things around, or just kind of use your finger to move it over so that way it stays in the right position there. Okay, so this one I'm going to line up just ahead of time, just so I can kind of see it and gauge it first, and just check my orientation, only because I do that sometimes, because I don't want to have to cut things twice here. Okay, and so I actually think what I'm going to do is, since this is just a lot of gluing now, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to speed up the video here, and then I'll slow it back down when I go to do the face. But basically, we're just going to be doing the same thing, just adding a lot of glue to the backs here, lining them up between our fingers, and just being very careful as we place it down to make sure that we've got it in the right position. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and speed up the video now. Okay, so here we are. We have finally come down to the wire, and we are at the last bits here that we are gluing down. And so as you can see, I'm really just taking my time to make sure that I've got the top as well as the bottom lined up in that right position. I almost lost this little bat here. I'm not sure which way he's gonna go. I think he's gonna go this way. So I'm gonna check my orientation before I start the glue, and I was right. I'm actually gonna use my tweezers for this one here, only because it's so tiny and I've got a lot of glue on my fingers. All right, so I'm gonna turn this one so I can get it in the right position. And then I'm just gonna press it down here. And you know, something else that you can do is you can use your tweezers to kind of help you to shift the paper if you find that it's not in the right position there. And I've got glue on my tweezers as well. Okay, so here we go. Let's do the eyes and the nose, and then we will be finished. So I'm gonna hold the tweezers here between my hands, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna place the eyes down. Okay, and so one thing that you're going to notice is when you kind of go to do the eyes, you may find that the eyelashes are kind of going to overlap here on the ear, and that's okay too. It's not a big deal. If it really bothers you, you could just make sure that you move it so the eyes don't overlap. But I'm okay with mine overlapping there just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of glue here to the back of the nose. And then just pressing it down, and then the same thing here with the other eye, just adding a little bit of glue to the back. And so I hope that you guys really enjoyed this one craft here. Let's just go ahead. So you're going to see like these eyelashes, I'm going to put it off to the side here a little bit so that way they kind of hang off too. But again, if it really bothers you, just move the eyes in further, and then they'll just be a little bit closer to her nose here. But I hope you guys really enjoyed this one, this craft. I think it's super fun and super cute. You know, I love cute stuff. So please be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching, and happy crafting.